à l'épisode d'aujourd'hui. D'aujourd'hui, je ferai le pâtisserie et cuire les éclairs. Well, what intonation are you talking about, Pepe Le Pew? Well, let me show you. Watch my guns. Watch him, watch him, watch him, watch him. We're gonna do pastry, bitches. Pastry! Well, what kind of pastry are you going to do then? I just told you. I just said it in French. We're gonna do eclairs. Well, what are eclairs? Eclairs are pâté choux. What are pâté choux? In proper English, choux pastry. What is choux pastry? That I'm gonna show you. There are many recipes online that states how to make choux pastry. Well, in my case, there are equal parts of water, milk, butter, flour, and 4 medium-sized eggs. We start with this, with the liquids. Some recipes say only use full-fat milk. Others say 50-50 like in my case. And others say only water. What are the differences? Only water, in my opinion, you can use if you're going to store them in the freezer for a couple of months with the filling or no filling, because they're going to be more firm after baking. With the 50-50 mix, you get full fattiness and a little bit what's it called, firmness. And with only milk, it's going to be more softer in flavor. Some recipe states higher in flour, less in flour, higher in butter and whatnot. Well, for my recipe, I'm going to use 100 grams of water, 100 grams of milk, 100 grams of butter, 100 grams of flour, and like I said, 4 medium-sized eggs. Let's get started. In a pot, water, milk, butter, I'm gonna bring this to a boil, a simmering boil. We let the butter get dissolved in the milk and water mixture, and then we're going to back later. We are now at the stage where it's going to boil. As you can see, the butter is dissolved in the water and milk mixture. We let it simmer a little bit more. When you really get bubbly, at this point you drop in all your flour at once. This part is crucial. Going to be stirring, 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 stirring. All the liquid needs to be absorbed by the flour. And you're going to cook it out for 1 up to 2 minutes. The reason why is for the gluten to work. At a certain point you will hear a sizzling sound. You will hear the sizzling. It's the fattiness of the butter that's going to work combined with the gluten, and it will activate the gluten. I'm still putting this on the fire, cooking it up, and as you can see, it will start to form a ball, sorry. And your bottom of the pan will become starchy, and at that point you know your mixture will be set and ready, and your gluten, the flour, your gluten content will be cooked. The next step in this process is putting in the eggs one at a time. It will start to curdle, don't worry, don't be afraid. This is normal for it to happen. But as long as you stir it in by the heat that's in the mixture, it will be combined again. And once it's combined, you add in your second egg, your third egg, and your fourth egg. It's a really nice workout. You can also do this in a stand mixer, but not everybody has the luxury for having a stand mixer. Because as some chefs show, we do this in a stand mixer. Why? We're too goddamn lazy. Because it's quite the workout, as I said. Because it will be a tough thickened dough actually. The pâté choux. But this way I have control over the consistency. I can see how thick it will become. Does it need another egg, yes or no? Like I said with many of my recipes, it's easier to add than to take out. My last egg goes in. Make sure everything is taken in. And now you see it starts to form a thicker dough again. And it's good to go. Going to place them in a piping bag. Well, I'm going to use a star tip. If you don't have a star tip, a regular tip is fine as well. Show you a little trick with a disposable piping bag. This is what we call a manchette, like with your blouses. Goes in. So far you see nothing new, I'm guessing. Just need a little bit more. Now here comes a part. I'm going to twist it, place it in. That way, with cake batters, macaron batters, or this dough, it will not fall out. And I'm going to fill it. This way your hands are clean. You can work with 2 hands. Unless you're working in my kitchen. And it will be a mess sometimes. As you can see, it really has a nice feel to it. So now I know it's a nice dough. Lift it up, squeeze, and ta-da! Now we can pipe them. I have the luxury of a silicone mat. If you don't have a silicone mat, don't worry. Regular parchment paper will do the trick as well. You go up. Let me stop. Go up. I'm going to leave a space in between because that's the reason it's called choux pastry. It will souffle because of the eggs that are in there. Now this batter is still a little bit hot. Some say place it in the refrigerator. I like to let it cool on room temperature just a little bit more. There we are. I preheated my oven to 180 degrees, 350 Fahrenheit. Two things. Majority of the videos you see on YouTube state high temperature, less cooking time. Not every oven is the same, and I found out that when you do it on a lower temperature for a longer cooking time, they will be more stable. So 180 degrees Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit for 40 minutes. Yes, that is a long time, but you will thank me afterwards if you're going to do this. Away they go in the center of the oven, preheated oven. 40 minutes. Well, since we have to wait for 40 frickin' minutes, what are we gonna do then? Well, we're gonna make a filling. And the filling is a 3-ingredient chocolate mousse. I've got here 200 grams of heavy cream, 35% fat. I've got here 100 grams of dark chocolate, minimum of 50% cocoa, and 1 egg. Let's get started. Au bain-marie, well known. Look it up on YouTube. I'm gonna melt the chocolate au bain-marie. It will take a couple of minutes. Set it low because chocolate can burn even when it's on au bain-marie, and you don't want to be boiling or melting chocolate above 55 degrees Celsius. If the recipe states 200 grams, it is 200 grams, so everything goes in. A thing I learned from a Belgian pastry chef is for every 100 grams you add 10 grams of sugar, so we're gonna add 20 grams of sugar. If you don't want to use that much of sugar, feel free to use less. I'm gonna separate the eggs, but before we do that, another story to tell. Always use a metal or a glass bowl for whipping your egg whites. Some recipes states, well, use cream of tartar. I don't know what cream of tartar is. We don't have that here in the Netherlands. Rest of the world probably so. I'm cleaning my bowl with a little bit of lemon juice. The acidity of the lemon juice takes away the greasiness, and that way you can clean it. What I'm going to do is, because I'm a pastry lover and the average amount of the egg whites is 33 grams. So I'm going to use 30 grams of sugar to beat my egg whites. separate the whites from the yolks, because the yolks are going in as well. Set it aside. Here we go. We can do this by hand, since we have 40 minutes to spare. Well, 34 minutes from now on. But we're gonna do this with the hand mixer. Compared to egg whites or cream, I can add in the sugar already with my cream. That's 10 grams. And that's 20 grams. Here we go. As you can see, I'm beating it a little bit already to get some air in it. Little by little, I'm gonna add the sugar. Gonna do the little experiment. As you can see, it already has stronger peaks. There's the ceiling. Demi egg whites. Firm egg whites. Set it aside. Now we're gonna beat whipping cream. Now I hear you say, well, it's dirty. True. Gonna whisk in the sugar first before using the machine. And be careful not over whipping your cream, because it will turn into butter. Oh, and as you can see, it's completely mess, but always start at a low setting when whipping your cream. And there you have it, whipped cream. In the meantime, our chocolate has been on low simmering, slowly melting, as you can see. Taking it off the heat. Well, they say chocolate and water do not mix, or any type of liquid for that matter, because it will split. There's something I've learned this year, is to make a chocolate decoration based on any type of chocolate, melt it, and by adding warm water, and it will set and it will make very nice creations. So what most recipes show is to pour in hot chocolate on top of your cream. I'm gonna do it the other way around. I'm gonna add a little bit of the whipped cream into my melted chocolate. That way the reaction won't be splitting up my chocolate, nor will it split up my cream. I don't know the English term, but joining them together, making family, creating a family together, something like that. Write in the comments what proper English is. And I already hear you think, you're not folding it in, you're whisking it in. True. That's absolutely true. This is for a 2 ingredient chocolate mousse. Will this be perfect as well? But as a pastry lover, like I said, I want perfection. Now I'm gonna put in my egg whites, time at a time. If I'm making mirror glazed mousses, I'm adding to this content also a little bit of gelatin to keep it firm, so it won't be floating away underneath you. Egg yolk in, as promised. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. As you can see, it's firm already, it's not dropping down. I'm gonna place this in the fridge to firm it up, and we will be back later. There's one more thing we're going to make, and that's for on top of our eclairs, and it's very easy to make. I've got here 95 grams of icing sugar with 5 grams of cocoa powder, I've got here 15 grams of dark rum, this is going to form a paste, with the only difference is this is something we're going to do in the microwave later on. so we can decorate our eclairs once they're cooled down and filled. As you can see, it starts to develop a paste, and this paste is going to be microwaved till smooth. In the microwave, not a high setting, but about medium setting, and check every 10 seconds in your microwave how it follows through. As mentioned before, the icing sugar with cocoa powder and the brown rum, we're gonna melt it a little bit in the microwave, and we're gonna check every 10 seconds when we do that. My setting is on 650 watts, not too high, because you don't want to burn the substitutes. Check every 10 seconds and then stir it. This was about after 40 seconds. It started to be bubbly. It's okay. Because we're gonna stir it into a smooth consistency. And now you have like a nice paste where we can decorate our eclairs with. But before we're gonna do that, we are first going to fill them up. We are going to take our nicely rich, and look at that structure, airy structure of our chocolate mousse we made earlier and we set in the refrigerator. It's to fill up our magnificent eclairs. Eclairs is actually a French word for lightning, so I don't know how they came up with looking at lightning, because they look nothing like lightning at all. Silly French. Now, there are many different ways to fill them up. Normally you poke holes underneath. I like to poke a hole on the side. Get your piping on. I'm gonna do that on the other side as well. Now it will be gently filled with our lovely mousse. What else do we need? I prefer to use a brush. I'm gonna take our chocolate liquid, gonna coat it a few times. As you can see, it has a nice lovely gloss. It's the icing sugar, alcohol, cocoa powder. There you go. Eclairs.